The Curlewis Golf Club has secured its water future.
This is the Alcoa Point Henry complex, just out of Geelong.
I'm here at Fine Art College where the girls are getting right into the closing.
I'm Meryl Friend and welcome to News Geelong on this Wednesday, the 17th of September. Plenty of local politics and funding and of course the GDFL footy grand final updates. But firstly, the East-West link in Melbourne. It's been creating a lot of discussion and controversy. State member for South Barwon Andrew Katos updates us on what it will mean for Geelong, as Ian Nichols reports.
Work is continuing on Barnett Boulevard. That's a link road between the Surf Coast Highway and the Anglesea Ring Road. And while work's going on there, it's a bit more uncertain about the east-west link between Melbourne and Geelong, and traffic conditions are going to change if the government changes. Let's get the story from Andrew Katos, the member for South Barwon. Well, the state election is ever so close now, and the hottest topic without a doubt has to be the east-west link, particularly for people living in the Werribee to Geelong corridor. Andrew Katos, the member for South Barwon, what's the latest?
Well, extraordinary scene with the Leader of the Opposition saying he'd tear up the contract signed by a sovereign government of Victoria if he were to be elected on November 29th. What we have now for the people of the Western Melbourne and for the people of Geelong is a clear choice. The Napthine government is proposing to build the full east-west link. The western section will provide the second crossing of the Maribyrnong River for motorists coming in from Geelong and the western suburbs of Melbourne. We will build that and alleviate the problems of having one river crossing in the Westgate Bridge, provide a second crossing of the Maribyrnong River. So the choice is clear for the voters. If you drive to Melbourne for work, if you drive to Melbourne for recreation, you at the moment, if Labor is elected in November, you are condemned to sitting in traffic for years to come. It's only the Napthine government that will build the east-west link and alleviate the traffic problems that have been created with the growth of Western Melbourne and the Geelong region.
Well, we know that the Coalition has been touting that for a very long time now. It's an essential part of your platform, and it seems like madness not to go ahead with that, particularly as already we know the problems on the Geelong Road.
Well, what people in Geelong need to realise is, and Melbourne for that matter, can you imagine Melbourne today without CityLink? CityLink was built under the Kennett government. John Brumby at the time, as Leader of the Opposition, said he wanted to tear those contracts up now. Is there anyone in Melbourne or anyone who visits from Geelong that goes to Melbourne, could you imagine Melbourne without CityLink now? It would be a disaster. The traffic is congested enough as it is. To not have CityLink would be a disaster, and this is this would be an equal disaster, probably a more epic disaster, if Daniel Andrews were elected on the 29th of November this year for the people of Geelong and the people of Melbourne.
Well, a whole lot hinges on the building of the east-west link, not only politically, but for the future of the state of Victoria, in fact.
Well, yes, it's 6,200 construction jobs. So, and the confidence in Victoria. So what building company, what consortium is going to want to sign a contract with the state of Victoria if people like Daniel Andrews are going to say, well, we'll just rip that up? He's ripping up 6,200 jobs in the construction industry. His CFMEU mates in the construction industry want these jobs, yet he's prepared to tear them up for political expediency and backflip. It's just absolutely outrageous that he's willing to jeopardise Melbourne's prosperity, Victoria's prosperity, and the jobs for 6,200 people.
Getting an update on Barnett Boulevard and the east-west link, Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. The Reserves GDFL Grand Final was held last Saturday and North Geelong were able to beat Anarchy, and Dylan Morton was voted best on ground, as Ron Brain reports.
Ronnie Brain reporting for Guest Media here. Reserve grade Grand Final for the Geelong District Footy League. Introduced to the camera, best on ground for the reserves today. Congratulations, Dylan.
Thanks, mate.
Dylan Morton, the 39 Guernsey, played 10 or so senior games this year.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. Tough game. Anarchy really brought it to us. The boys stood up, which is good. Really good.
Now, being an ex-Port Arlington boy, moving to North Geelong.
Yeah.
So you've actually living out that way?
No, still live in Port Arlington. Yeah.
Good on you. So enjoying your footy with the North Geelong boys?
Loving it. Loving this, mate.
Well, playing
winning
10
flags.
senior games this year, big effort for yourself.
Yeah, good senior side to be part of.
So
Very
next
good.
season,
Next season, see what happens. Hopefully I can get myself up for it.
congratulations again on the Guest Media Best on Ground Award this afternoon.
Thank you.
Terrific performance, and all the best in your footy career in the future.
No worries, thanks, Ronnie.
Enjoy the night.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Good on you. Dylan Morton, number 39 for the North Geelong Footy Club. Best on ground here this afternoon.
Thank you, Ron. And some good news for local kindergarten in the South Barwon region. Ian Nichols spoke with member for South Barwon, Andrew Katos, in regards to funding.
A number of kindergartens and childhood learning centres in the South Barwon area have received some really great upgrades of late, thanks to the coalition government here in Victoria. And to bring us up to date with what's happening in early learning, the member for South Barwon, Andrew Katos. Well, anybody who lives in the South Barwon region would know that children are the lifeblood, they're the future, but they seem to be such an area for families to settle and bring up children, and as a result of that, infrastructure has to come into play. And of course we're talking about early learning centres and kindergartens. There's been quite a lot of action under the Napthine government in that respect, Andrew.
Yes, there has. Look, obviously I'm a father of 4, so I understand firsthand the need for improving our kindergarten facilities. Basically, since we've come to office, we've funded $2 million to the Grovedale Early Learning Centre being constructed, $1 million to Barwon Heads Kindergarten. There's been $500,000 funded to the extension of the Torquay Kinder, $300,000 to the extension of Janjuk Kinder, and more recently $1.6 million committed to the Torquay Early Learning Hub as far as infrastructure goes. But just recently, Ian, there's been some small grants announced, for minor infrastructure and IT grants, and 4 kindergartens around South Barwon Electorate have received funding. Funding has gone to St Paul's Lutheran in Grovedale, to the Janjuk Kindergarten, to Torquay Early Learning Centre, and also to the Torquay Kindergarten for minor upgrades to their playgrounds and other areas within the kindergarten.
Well, just looking at the bigger picture, we know that the Surf Coast Shire has welcomed the grant, if you like. There's been a very big campaign in that area, a kindergarten for particularly the Torquay North area, which is growing at a fantastic rate now.
Well, that's right. And look, we, as a government, the Napthine government realises that we have to keep pace with this growth. The growth was allowed to occur, particularly in Torquay under the previous Labor government, but the necessary infrastructure, whether it be kinder, schools, community infrastructure, was not put in place. And as a government, we're playing catch up now, and we want to get ahead. And that's why we want to fund these important pieces of infrastructure, whether it be early learning, whether it be schools like the Surf Coast Secondary College, like the new Torquay North Primary School that we're going to build, that's been funded in this year's budget. We have to provide these facilities for a growing community.
At one of the recipients of recent government funding, St Paul's Lutheran Kindergarten in Grovedale, this is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. And as we go to a break, we'll return with more news after this.